Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Feast Foreplay podcast. I'm here today with Sam Beer. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you very much.
Yay.
So
It's great.
lovely to be with you.
Yeah. So for those who don't know about Feast, it might be the first time you're listening. Feast is the festival of embodiment and sexual transformation, and we have our gorgeous annual festival in May this year. And we are offering this podcast as a beautiful introduction to our wonderful facilitators. So you get to meet them and learn a little bit about them before you come along and do their incredible workshops. Yay. How are you feeling, Sam?
Oh, I'm feeling like I have some nice energy buzzing around my body. I'm excited to be having this conversation with you, to see where it goes, to talk about the festival, and yeah, to get this process started. It's feeling more and more real as May approaches. It's great.
Yeah, and this is your first time with us at Feast, yeah?
Is I've never attended before. I mean, like all of my wonderful friends have been and talked about how amazing it is. So I'm feeling a little bit late to the party, but I'm jumping in head first by presenting.
You sure are. You sure are. And not just one or two, three offerings this year, yeah?
Three.
Yeah.
Oh, super excited.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get to know you a bit better. If you're willing, we're really curious to hear, what was your first experience in group erotic learning space? Like, when did you first kind of encounter it? What was that like? And where did that kind of lead you from there?
Yeah. So my first ever group erotic learning space was at a Curious Creatures workshop with a partner of mine it would be like 10 years ago. And we went to their fun little sex games, their intro workshop, and I just thought it was the most fantastic thing. Like, I had the best time. It was really beautiful for us as a way of connecting. It's the first time I played the 3-minute game. I remember the very first thing we were asked to do, and when they opened the workshop, was like, turn to the person next to us, someone you don't know, and say something that you're feeling in your body. What are you noticing in your body? I was like, oh, great, this is amazing. And my partner was like, this is a nightmare. What do you mean? What am I feeling in my body? And I have to talk to someone about it. So it was really fun to kind of be in that and have the different experiences and start noticing how I show up in that space, and then feeling out how other people experience group erotic learning spaces. And from there, I had this desire to like explore more in that realm. The next thing I did, I think it would have been a year later, was Barbara Carellis's Urban Tantra training, which was
That's quite a leap.
it was world exploding. Yeah, a lot had happened in that year that led up to me diving into that training, and that's where I met my first sexological bodyworker friends. Yeah, that's where I first met a bunch of people who were like, oh yeah, there's this training with these people called Deej and Uma, and I was like, oh, huh?
Wow.
So I know that Rog and Tess, who used to run Curious Creatures, are also sex botters. So I feel like I lucked out at hitting the gold standard like straight away.
What do you mean by that, Sam?
I just think that the teaching methodology, the pedagogy that they teach in sexological bodywork and through somatic sexology is super sound, super safe, and really helps you activate and integrate erotic learning. So I feel really lucky to have been exposed to that from the start of my erotic learning.
Yeah, beautiful. So starting off with Rog and Curious Creatures, I remember I did fun little sex games with Rog too, and really loved how they held the space and just like the fun and joy and easefulness of stepping in like that. And then following the threads to Barbara Carellis and then to Sexbod.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where has that led you to now? What are you doing now?
I am actually involved in teaching a
Mhm.
longer training for the first time. I've been teaching erotic embodiment classes online, so kind of inhabiting that teaching educator space myself for a few years, and then just recently finished the first interactive erotic educator training, which I helped develop with Uma and Jules and Anthony and Lorraine, and it was just the most amazing experience for me as a facilitator. And yeah, I mean, if you're willing to talk
And for me as a
yeah,
participant, it was like, yes, I waited for years for this space. So to finally be able to step into such incredible pioneering work and now to be able to share that with my clients, and it's really valuable. So I really appreciate your leadership in that space and courage to step in and offer that kind of training. Yeah.
it was amazing. It was really amazing. And when I know that Jules and Lorraine and I had a little study group and had talked about something like that for a little while, and Uma had it on her radar for a long time, and it just finally felt like there were enough hands on deck and there was enough momentum to really get something going. And it was amazing, the community that's formed out of it as well.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of closeness and support among us. Yeah, because it's edgy work. Yeah.
And it can be isolating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know you also do like individual personal sessions, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So I work as a sex worker, and I also do the interactive erotic education as part of that
Mhm.
business. So I call them erotic enrichment sessions.
Mhm.
And then it's beautiful weaving of some of the practices that are taught in sexological bodywork, and other kind of more esoteric practices, but done interactively, often like kind of turn taking, really about for me, it's about being a practice partner and giving myself permission to also come in with beginner's mind and learn and be creative and do some really fun co-creation with clients.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, beautiful. And like in listening to you, Sam, like I can hear you've had your own journey, like, and it started really personally and stepping in your own right into these kind of erotic spaces and on that learning journey. And now you're supporting people to do the same. How do you support like someone who's right at the beginning of their journey, feels a bit of trepidation, uncertainty? Like, how do you support them to step in?
Yeah, I feel like it's really about, and I work with a lot of people where this is their first foray into erotic learning, or even like held erotic spaces.
Mm,
And it is really daunting. People come with a lot
yeah.
of stories about how they should show up and how they're not measuring up, about what the other person, like whether it's me or a potential other partner, is expecting from them. So I feel that um, really finding a pace of learning and involvement that
Mm,
suits the person, like not feeling like it has to be everything all at once, is really important, and coming in with like agency as the most important aspect of the experience.
yeah.
Like, so we're playing the no game for me, which, we're all familiar, like you would be familiar with it. And if other people are
Mhm.
not, it's really just practicing, making requests and hearing a no, and hearing a request and saying no. That was a revelation to me. And it's something that I
Mhm.
practice a lot with clients, and really knowing, oh, actually, like I feel my agency. I can say no. It makes it more possible to say yes.
Mm,
To really know that that yes is authentic, and open up that excitement without this sense of should coming in. Um,
yes.
Yeah, I think for me, that's the most important piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Permission to say no. I mean, no comes with so much baggage often, doesn't it? You know, like meaning making around what that no means for people often stops them from saying it. You know, they feel rejection, or they feel like I'm inadequate, or I've done something wrong when they hear a no. So kind of the liberation that comes with reclaiming a no actually opens up more space, more possibility,
Yeah,
and
and
a
the
sense of choice.
feeling, reframing hearing a no as actually a found of safety, a piece of like a safety piece in a
Yeah.
relationship. Oh, actually, if I'm hearing a no from you, it means that I can have more trust in the yeses that I hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, Sam. And working at someone's pace, you know, I notice often people want to go 0 to 100. Yeah, and in the process, just override all those no's, or all those limits, because that's either how they do things. They either go 0 to 100, or they're kind of stuck, and it's really hard. Like, how do I step in? And they're stuck in this habit. So, inviting people into this pace of learning that really just meets them where they're at.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so much of that is just slowing down and horizontalizing the features of an experience. Like the pleasure you feel from a touch on the hand is just as valid and exciting as the pleasure you might feel from someone's face in your genitals. You know,
Yeah.
like it's all worth spending time with. It's all worth celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah. What were some of your edges? Like, if you remember back those 10 years ago,
Yeah.
as you were starting to step into erotic space, do you remember what sort of edges you had to meet to
Mhm.
kind of go there?
Yeah, I mean, what immediately came up for me when you asked that was imposter syndrome. Imposter
Mm-hmm.
syndrome, feeling like I should be able to do this. I should be more comfortable than I am. I should be having that kind of experience that person is having over there. You know, that
Mm-hmm.
there were all these kind of, oh, am I not good enough? Am I not measuring up? I had this sense of myself as, you know, pretty sexually switched on and adventurous already.
Yep.
And then group spaces can be pretty intimidating sometimes. They can be quite stimulating with everyone having their experiences around you. And I can be like, I can get quite sensitive to overstimulation and it was kind of teasing apart that like anxiety that could come from that and the stories that then would
Yes.
turn on around it.
Yeah.
That would be the main kind of thing that I had to work with, and it still sometimes comes up for me today.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
having that
Yeah.
self-compassion rather than like shutting down, and yeah, has been a big journey.
Yeah. I mean, as a facilitator and a erotic practitioner, there can be an element of humility in that too, you know, like in meeting that in a healthy way. But I'm curious, Sam, as you know, as that came up for you, this sense of I should be there, I should be where they are.
Hmm.
Like, what supported you to kind of meet that edge and beyond and move beyond that?
Hmm. What has supported me to meet that edge has actually just been connecting with other people and hearing about their experiences and coming to an understanding that just because I'm witnessing something that looks a certain way doesn't mean I have any idea what's happening in that person's head
Mhm.
or what's really happening in that person's experience or what their history has been and what their journey has been to get to this point.
Mhm.
So being exposed to lots of different people's experiences and coming into more intimate relationships with people who spend a lot of time in erotic spaces has led me to understand also, I mean, there's that and also the non-linearity of growth. That just because you have an
Yes.
amazing experience one day doesn't mean that's going to happen every time or it's a sure thing.
Yeah.
Um, so just the more sort of spaciousness, less rigid expectation has flowed on from that for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So meeting that narrative.
Exposure. Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
gathering
Time.
evidence of all of that variation.
Yeah. Yeah, meeting that narrative in a way so that it's not driving the bus. So, and giving it some space to have some different experiences. So there's a different story landing. Yeah. I'm curious, can you talk a bit more about what did you call it? That like learning's not a linear journey. Can you talk some more about that?
Yeah, the non-linearity of it. I feel like so many conversations recently with people, it just keeps popping up, keeps coming back around and coming back around about this like spiral path of growth and of learning, that you come around to the same lesson from a different vantage point. That just because, yeah, you might have a moment of epiphany and be like, oh, I've had this insight and now it's going to be different forever. And, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years later, you're like, am I here again?
Yes.
Am I really doing this same thing that I thought that I had got rid of? And it feels like it's the same, but it might be a little bit different. And maybe the time it takes you to clock it and pivot is a little bit different. But it really is, it's a spiral, non-linear process. Yeah.
Yeah, I laugh because I really resonate with that, often feeling like, oh my God, I've done this before and here I am again. And how many times do I have to do it? But it's actually not possible to be in that same place. People go, I'm just going round and round in circles. It's actually impossible. You've already done a lap, and in that lap, there's some new experiences, there's some new learning, there's some more discomfort potentially. So you can never be at exactly the same space. And the nature of a spiral, at least going out, is there's always another step, there's always the next step. That's what makes it a spiral.
Absolutely. I think the first time I was introduced to this as a metaphor, I spoken about as like walking up a mountain. Like you're walking around and you're coming around to the same, maybe you have the same view, but you're a little bit higher up. So you're kind of, yeah, there's been
Nice.
progress, but you're just looking at it maybe.
Yeah. I love that. So obviously you dedicate your professional working time to as an erotic practitioner. I'm curious, like what is so important? What do you think? Like why do you work with erotic energy? What drives you to support people to connect with their erotic energy, their sexual selves? What's important about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are a few different layers to that answer. I mean, ultimately I think that erotic is a portal into ways of showing up outside specifically erotic activities. It's this beautiful space of exploration and relaxation and transformation, and really like you can bring so many kinds of intention into an erotic space, and work. Yeah, I mean, I just find it so fascinating, the different ways that people come into eroticism, and also I like working in this space that often is kept quite secret.
Yeah.
There's something really fascinating about that, and a really like a real privilege being let in to something
Absolutely.
intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a personal, vulnerable place of our humanness, of our human experience, and yet so potent. I love hearing how you're talking about it as a portal. I think it's one of the most potent, well, for me, it's like the most potent personal development piece you can do. And it ripples into everything.
Absolutely. And that, yeah, the
Yeah.
experience I have with clients of mine where they'll be exploring something erotically or relationally, and then they're coming back with stories about how it's played into their work life and their other relationships. And suddenly this layer of emotional intimacy has opened in relationships with their children, or, they're prioritizing pleasure in other domains in their life because something has just, opened. They've experienced this
Yes.
ability and are now able to connect the dots in other
Yes.
places. And it's so exciting.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And I think because we work somatically too, like we're working with the body, it's not something people have to remember. You know, it lives in the cells and tissues, in their posture, in the way they hold themselves, in the spaciousness in their conversations. Yeah, so it's learning in a really different way. Yeah.
Yeah, you carry it with you everywhere. It doesn't
Mhm.
get retrieved. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
beautiful.
And it's
We
fun.
are,
Also. And it's really fun.
and it's fun, learning through pleasure, healing through pleasure,
And teaching,
meeting,
teaching it.
yeah,
Everything's
teaching through, yes.
really fun.
It is absolutely fun. No wonder we can keep showing up in the way we do. It feeds us too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really nourishing,
Yes. Yeah.
playful, creative.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much permission to show up as I want to and to weave my own process into what I'm offering my clients or offering in workshops or offering in classes online. Yeah, I would be
Yes.
hard pressed, I think, to find somewhere else where I have so much room to explore
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I hear you.
while supporting people. It's like win-win-win.
Mm, yes. We are so excited to have you on our facilitators team this year. And so we looked at all your offerings and it was just so, like this beautiful smorgasbord. Do you want to share a little bit about what you are offering at Feast this year?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. So three different workshops. One, I'm presenting with a co-facilitator with Kagi, which we're really excited to present a workshop together, Cosmosis. And this is really like a celebration of erotic energy as like the foundation of cosmic processes and of human drive and of all kinds of connection and magic and manifesting. And yeah, we're pretty excited. It's it's gonna be big bang fantastic.
And it's in the evening. This one's an evening
I
offering, Sam.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super. I haven't fully integrated the workshop calendar in.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so I have.
Yes, I'm sure this is.
And it is an evening offering. And so yeah, the evenings are such a beautiful space, especially to put something like this. So they're quite, I mean, everything is experiential, but as you can imagine, as you journey through Feast, there's a layering that happens and a deepening that happens. So to be able to have the opportunity to go to something like this in the evening, really rich.
In the evening, and people can wander out and bathe in the stars and the moonlight afterwards. I mean, there's something incredibly poetic and wonderful about that for me. So I'm very excited to have this
Yeah.
support the content.
Yeah, beautiful. And especially on this beautiful the lounge that we will be gathering on, it's yeah, deeply held.
Mm.
Beautiful.
So that's the workshop that Kagi and I will be presenting together. And the other two workshops, one is called the Nap Orgy. And this workshop is inspired by some work I've been immersing myself in that for me, the way I've connected to it is through some academics and artists from kind of like a Black liberation theory background. So Adrienne Maree Brown, some of Octavia Butler's work, and Tricia Hersey, who goes by the name The Nap Minister, who just have the most beautiful writing and other work on rest and rest as liberation, rest in their work as reparations, reclaiming rest from like grind culture and hustle culture and as a pathway to dreaming and pleasure. Really, like this real sinking in, down regulated, effortless, easeful, erotic rest
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
I am so excited about this offering. Yeah, I love Tricia's work too, and rest as an act of resistance, and then the overlay of bringing in the pleasure and eroticism into that space in a really down-regulated, slowing down space that we don't often get to experience.
Mm.
Yeah, beautiful.
And I really feel that that lays such a beautiful foundation for other kinds of erotic exploration, to be able to have that as the base of your erotic practice actually just opens up so much more bandwidth
Yes.
for pleasure.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes that's the piece that people don't necessarily put together. Like if you are going fast in everyday life and your nervous system's constantly revved up and stuck on, that really impacts sex, intimacy, pleasure, how present you can be, your capacity and bandwidth to slow down. So cultivating this really important piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know that, this community, this work can attract the kind of intensity junkies. And, and I wouldn't necessarily call it intensity, but there's a different kind of, heightened experience that can also exist in that super down-regulated,
Yes.
almost trance-like space.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, beautiful.
subtlety is exquisite that you have access to. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. And as my body gets older, that's the thing with aging, eroticism, well, at least in my body, my orgasmicity shows up differently in this body. And I've had to learn to slow it down and learn to tune into the subtle flavors. And it's made me more sensitive. And it's an exquisite place of orgasmicity if you can have those skills. So beautiful offering.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. And for me, facilitating it, it's so beautiful to inhabit that space with
Mm.
everyone and hold it and feel it in my body as it's
Mhm.
as we co-regulate. And I've offered a version of this class online, but to
Mm.
be in the room with everyone, with all the bodies, with all
Mm.
the nervous systems, I'm really stoked, and to have more time as
Yes.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And your third offering?
My
What's your
third
third?
My third offering is called Fucking in the Shadows.
Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 Yep.
And it's about playing with archetypes. It's about playing with sort of light and dark energy. It's about meeting each other in in the uncertainty of that, in how to do how to play with activating that in each other in a somatic way, feeling out what darkness, lightness, and also different roles in terms of kind of wheel of consent, serving, accepting, taking, allowing, feel like in the body. And
Mm.
really just kind of throwing the more protocolized way that those things are done out the window for a moment,
Mhm.
and seeing, and just having a really, really kind of off the wall play. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Leading in, kind of getting familiar with all the pieces, so then you can mush them together in new and exciting ways to open up different erotic possibilities. Try out new
Mm.
roles. It's really about
Uh-huh.
role
Yeah.
and things that might be lurking in the background that you haven't dared to play with or might want to play with a little more.
Yeah. Beautiful. It sounds fun. Sounds playful. Sounds creative.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, a little bit more active and upregulated, and hopefully a bit like silly as
Yeah.
well, which
Yeah.
is definitely a space that I like to invite people into.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. I love that about working with you. You can hold both the contrast, the fun and joy and light, and the depth.
Yeah, I think they really support each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go deeper with one, you can go deeper with the other.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. What excites you about coming to Feast?
Oh, what doesn't excite me about coming to
I mean, you are making a huge effort. You're flying all the way from Melbourne up to be with us.
I'll figure out. I might drive up with some friends. And what excites me is I'm going to be able to share this space for several days with many of my loved ones. Because that's who I share this community with, and who I found in this community are people who I have shared values and interests and just really enjoy spending time with and playing with. So that's definitely one of the major things that I'm excited about. But I'm excited about being exposed to other people's work. The thing about being a practitioner and about being an educator is so often I'm in the role of offering, and it can be difficult to make time to receive. I know that this is like a really common story with people who facilitate or have a private practice. It's often this like, oh, but I don't do enough receiving, and Feast is a real opportunity to go, oh, actually, I'm going to go receive other people's work and learn from them as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I love about erotic exploration. There is no destination. Like we're constantly, there's always more to learn and discover and expand and lean into. And even if something is familiar and we might have done it before, there's always another layer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are super excited about having you.
Oh, I'm so excited to be there. So excited.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one last question. We've been asking it of everybody that we're doing these podcasts with. And it's a sentence starter. And I'm going to give it to you and invite you to finish it.
Okay.
Okay. You ready for it?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Hold on. Let me take a breath and then I'll be ready. Okay.
Take a breath. Yeah. So, Sam, I'm going to Feast 2025 because
all of the most amazing somatic sex educators will be there. Some of the most wonderful humans with the most exciting offerings. And I can't wait to luxuriate all of the fun and friskiness that it will offer.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you and hug you and be in this space with you.
Thank you so much for this conversation. It's been so beautiful. I'm yeah, I couldn't be more excited.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Susan.
Bye for now.